Hello and welcome to Sew Amelia, my channel where I talk all about making a handmade wardrobe for me and my children. Welcome to this week's video, which is a week in my sewing life. Hi and welcome to this week's video. This is one I always enjoy making and filming and putting together. It's a week in my life, some sewing, some real life thrown in there as well, and I hope you enjoy watching it. So today is Monday and I'm up in the sewing room. It's nap time. If you know me, this is one of the little chunks of time that I get to sew. Now, normally on a Monday I'd be doing some admin, there's some gardening to be done, washing to be folded, but decided for now to just push that to one side. The rest of the week is quite busy, and so I just thought I would start with a little bit of me time and then we'll see how much sewing gets done in the rest of the week. But for now, I'm up in the sewing room. And my project for today is to get started on my next version of the vetiver top by French Navy. Whilst I was in New Zealand, I shared a video of some fabric that I bought from the fabric store. And one of those was this beautiful cornflower blue linen. Now, I just love the colour, but it was only a remnant. There wasn't a huge amount of this. I think it was just over a metre. So what I thought I would make from that was the vetiver top. It's a lovely cropped blouse with princess seams and a little ruffle across the bottom. I found myself reaching for my black and white version so much that I would love to have another one in my wardrobe. The other brilliant thing about this pattern is that it can be made quite easily from a metre or less of fabric. I actually have a little bit of this left over, which is quite amazing. I was quite careful with the cutting out, but nonetheless I have been left with a little bit of that. So that's my plan. Now I've cut out all of the pieces. This one does require French seams, and when I made my first version I did do French seams, but you can also sew it finishing the seams on the overlocker, which is what I might do for this version. It just makes it a slightly quicker sew. Now, normally I do like taking my time with projects and I do like sewing slowly and having a beautiful inside, but I don't mind overlocked seams from time to time. And I would really like to wear this one now that the weather is warming up. So for this version, I am going to overlock the inside seams. I think that's fine. I have a really lovely haberdashery near me that sells quite a lot of vintage buttons. And when I was there earlier this week, I picked up these gorgeous blue buttons, and I think that they work really well with the cornflower blue fabric. So that's really fun. So I'm looking forward to using those on the front of the blouse. So I've got everything I need. I do need to change the thread on my overlocker before I get started, and once I've rethreaded the overlocker, I'll be ready to start. Now this one does take a little while to put together, even if I do overlock the seams inside the garment. Princess seams always take a while to line up and to make sure that there's no puckers and that they sit really nicely. So I'm not sure how much I'll get done today. I've only got about 20 minutes before I need to leave for the school run. So it might just be a case of getting the overlocker rethreaded, the sewing machine sorted out with the fresh needle and the right coloured thread on that. And I might get started pinning some of those princess seams together. We'll just see. So it's Tuesday and it's been a busy morning so far. The children have music lessons before school on a Tuesday, so we're all up and out very early. And then it wasn't the warmest day, but my daughter and I decided to go for a little spring stroll around a local park, which was just lovely. So I haven't had a lot of time this nap time to sew because I've been doing lots of house jobs, but I have just snuck up here for 20 minutes. This is really how I get my sewing done in very little bits and pieces of time, either over nap time or most commonly after the children are in bed. I do about an hour or so sometimes in the evenings. Yesterday evening I did get quite a lot done. It's surprising how much more quickly the vetiver top sews up when you're not French seaming all of the inside seams. So I'll show you where I got up to. It's such a lovely pattern to sew. So you can see here I've done the princess seams. They have them on the front pieces here, and then I've got the button placket ready to go. So you fold this over and sew it at the top, and then eventually that gets flipped around the other way. And the back also has princess seams on it for shaping, which is really lovely. So you can see I finished off the inside with overlocking on this one. I think it will be fine, and I don't think you can see it from the front. I think it will look fine, and it's just meant that I could actually get that sewn up this week. So that's the base of the bodice done, and then the last thing I managed to do last night was to sew up the sleeves. So I have put the gathering stitches in the top of the sleeve, and I have sewn up the underarm seam. So the next thing that I need to do on this is to press the hem of the sleeve. I think it's like 1/2 centimetre and then 1/2 centimetre again, so a very small hem. And then I need to gather the sleeve into the bodice. Now it's almost time to go and collect my children, but I think I can just about get those sleeves hemmed, and then I might see if I can pin those into place this afternoon while I'm supervising homework. But that's the progress currently on my vetiver top. I really enjoy this make. It's very straightforward, but with just some lovely processes like those princess seams that you do just need to take your time over, lining up, pinning into place. I really do love the process of this one. So hopefully I'll get those sleeves set in tonight. And then the next step is to add the ruffle. So currently this is a very cropped bodice. It sits just above my belly button, which obviously I'm not going to wear it like that. So I will add the ruffle, and I'll pop back on to let you know how that goes if I manage to get to that tonight. Hello, it's Wednesday and I'm up in the sewing room. It's nap time. I have a delicious coffee and I'm ready to have a little bit of sewing time. Now, yesterday I managed to get quite far on the vetiver blouse. I got the sleeves set in with those gathers at the top, and I managed to attach the frill as well. So that's very exciting. It's almost finished. So today's job, not my favourite, is to make the buttonholes on here, and then I can sew in those buttons this afternoon whilst the tea is cooking and the children are playing. And then that one's finished, which will be really exciting. It has come together a lot more quickly than my first version, I think, probably because I didn't do all of the French seams. It's still finished really, really neatly. I love this bias bound neckline that you can see here, which makes a lovely, lovely finish to the inside of the blouse. So that's that one, just ready for some buttonholes. So I'm thinking about my next project. Now, if you've watched my May plans video, you'll know that there are 2 other projects for myself that I'm working on this month. One is making my first bra. I'm working on the Harriet bra by Cloth Habit. The other project I want to work on this month is the Closet Core Blanca flight suit. But sometimes inspiration strikes, and my eldest son has a Jubilee party next week at his school, and I thought it would be really fun to make something in either red, white or blue to wear at the garden party. And recently I picked up this beautiful block print fabric at the Stitch Show, I think it was called. I'll leave the details in the description box of the shop and things because I cannot remember it right now, but it had the most beautiful block printed fabrics in lots of different colours, and I picked up this blue one, which I think is just gorgeous. Now, it is a little bit sheer, so I think I will need to line it, but I do have some cotton lawn, which is a nice light cotton lawn, which will work quite well to line this one, I think. And the pattern that I was thinking about is one very similar to the dress that I made back in the winter. Now, there's a sew along video, which I'll link up here, but it was basically a hack of the Bakerloo dress. I took off the collar and added a frill. And for this version, I would like to use some nice big puff sleeves, possibly the Anthea blouse sleeves, or even the Fibre Mood Maya sleeves. Both of those patterns I've made before, and they have lovely big sleeves that I think would work really well. The inspiration for this dress I have to credit to Joanna Sands. I absolutely love the dresses she makes, but they always are sold out before I can get a look in. So I thought I would have a go at making a similar dress to the summery dress that's recently sold out on her website. All that to say, whilst I still want to make the Blanca flight suit and the Harriet bra, I'm going to go with the inspiration for the moment and have a go at seeing if I can make this. Now, I'm aware I only have a couple of days really to make this. I'm going away for the weekend with my family, so I'm not going to get sewing time this weekend. It's a bit touch and go, but I have made this pattern before, and the Bakerloo dress does come together quite quickly now that I've made it a few times. So we'll see. This fabric is quite narrow, so I'm going to have to think really carefully about whether or not I'm going to get all of those pieces out. But what I do like about the dress that I have in mind for this is that it will really let this pattern shine. When I bought this fabric, I didn't have an exact plan in mind for it, but I did know I didn't want to make a pattern that had too many lines breaking up this lovely pattern. So the Bakerloo bodice is a very simple fitted bodice with 2 darts, and then, like I said, I'll make this ruffle sort of pie crust collar, which I think will look really nice because it won't distract from just the beautiful block print of the fabric. That's, I think, my plan for the rest of the week. So I'm going to see if I can get that cut out. It probably won't happen today because I have a busy evening this evening. So I'll catch up with you again tomorrow when hopefully I might have some time to cut out the pieces for my summer Bakerloo dress hack. It's Thursday and I'm up in the sewing room. It's actually Thursday night. It's been another busy day. So you will have seen we had a lovely morning just playing in the garden. It was a lovely warm morning and we had quite a few jobs to do at home, so I did that while my daughter played, and then we had a lovely time out in the garden together picking some flowers. And then at nap time you will see that I managed to get the pieces cut out for my Bakerloo dress hack, so I thought I would just show you those. So I cut all the pieces out from this gorgeous cotton here, this block printed cotton. It's a really light cotton. I think it feels like a cotton lawn. So I did choose a cotton lawn to line it with. Now it's quite light and quite sheer because of the white background, so I'm going to line it with this white cotton lawn, so very similar weight to this lovely light cotton. I didn't want to add too much weight because I love the movement and the drape of the light cotton lawn, but I also don't want it to be see-through, so I will line the bodice. The white cotton lawn is quite wide, so I've just used one width of that, which I'll use for the lining of the skirt. This I have decided to cut the full width. It's quite a narrow fabric, so the full width twice to make that gathered skirt. So the measurements aren't exact for this one, but because it's quite a narrow fabric I just decided to use the full width to make the most of the fabric. So I've got one width of the fabric for the front gathered skirt and one width of the fabric for the back gathered skirt. Obviously the back one is in 2 pieces to make a space for the zip at the back. I will use an invisible zip, and I've got one of those in my stash, just a white invisible zip, and I will use that up the back. So the Bakerloo dress by Nina Lee has a large collar, which I'm not going to make. I'm going to make a ruffled collar at the top here, and I'm not going to do the closure at the back. So the back on the Nina Lee dress is sewn, then there's a keyhole opening at the top with a button. I'm going to make the bodice slightly more fitted, so I'm going to go down a size to make it more fitted rather than the original pattern, which is a looser fit blouse which can just be pulled on over your head with that buttonhole opening at the top. I will cut the skirt in 2 pieces at the back, insert that invisible zip, and then sew up the bottom of the skirt. So pretty straightforward really. The back bodice is cut in 2 pieces anyway, so it just means cutting that back skirt piece into 2 rather than as 1 on the fold. With all that said, I'm going to make a start. So I'm not sure how much sewing time I'll get tonight. I'm going to sit down now and catch up on the sewing bee, which I missed last night. It's on so late that I didn't actually watch it at the time, but I'm going to catch up on it tonight. And I've got a lovely project that I'm working on that's top secret. It's for a lovely new baby, so I'm going to work on that while I watch the sewing bee. But what I'm hoping to do is to sew up the darts in the bodice pieces, so the front bodice and the bodice lining, and then perhaps make a start on putting those bodice pieces together. If I can get that started, that would be great. Hi, it's Friday and it's the end of nap time. I've been busily packing because we're heading off for just a couple of nights. So there won't be any sewing tomorrow, but I'm hopeful to get back in the sewing room perhaps on Sunday night, because I did get some progress made on the dress, hopefully for Monday afternoon. I'm not sure I'll finish it, but it's been a fun project nonetheless. I thought I would briefly show you that I finished this top. I added a little label from my Kylie in the Machine advent calendar that says cutie, and I popped on those really lovely vintage buttons, and I think they match the colour really well with just that lovely little sheen, which is so nice. I'm really pleased with those. Now in terms of the top part of the dress, I did get the bodice sewn up, so that's the front and then the back. I have just popped in that ruffle, so once I've sewn that into the lining it will be a ruffle collar like that, which I think will just look really, really lovely in that fabric. And then I've sewn the same with the lining, the same bodice piece. So The next part is to sew the lining, or to sandwich that ruffle in between the lining and the main piece, sew in the invisible zip, and then attach the skirt. So actually there's not, oh, and the sleeves. I have decided to cut out the Anthea Allen blouse sleeves and they're ready to go. So yes, lining, sleeves, zip and skirt. So those things can take a while, but we'll see. I won't get any more time today, unfortunately, but Sunday night, we'll see. Hi, it's Sunday evening and I'm back up in the sewing room. We had a lovely weekend away, but I am back in the sewing room tonight after doing all the unpacking and sorting out ready for the week ahead. I thought I'd show you the bodice where I've got up to. I'm really pleased with it. So I've got the ruffle on for around the neck. That's all stitched and understitched to the lining, and the lining fabric is then in. That's how I attached the ruffle. I just sandwiched it between the lining and the main piece. Obviously I left 5/8 of an inch here so that I can join that together later once the zip is in. So the next job that I'm going to do is attach the sleeves. I find it easier to work with the sleeves when the bodice is like this before putting in the zip. So the next job is to put in the sleeves. I need to gather those up and put the little sleeve bands on the bottom. I'm going to do it with sleeve bands, just like the Anthea blouse does, rather than elastic. And then I will put the skirts on. So because I've got the invisible zip going down the back here, the zip will actually go down past the bottom of the bodice and into the top of the skirt, just to give me a bit more room to get the dress on and off, because the bodice is quite fitted. So I will put the skirts on next, the gathered skirts, and then I will put the zip in as the last step. So we'll see if I can get that finished tonight. If I do, I'll pop back on and show you, and then I'll be ready for the garden party tomorrow afternoon. Hello, it's Monday morning. I didn't end up coming back on last night because I was finishing up the dress, and at the end I did finish it, but it was quite late at night, so I did end up going straight to bed. And I've just finished hemming it now. Nothing like leaving things till the last minute. The afternoon tea for the Jubilee is this afternoon, and I have finished it now with about 45 minutes to spare, so nothing like running things close to the line. So fresh off the machine is my Jubilee dress, and I'm really pleased with it. These are the Anthea blouse sleeves, which look really pretty, the pie crust collar, which I'm really pleased with, and I think what I'm most pleased with is just using this pattern, which is just so pretty and simple. I mean, these things take a long time, don't they, even the simple patterns, but I just think it really allows the fabric to speak for itself. So I ended up putting in an invisible zip at the back, which you can see I didn't pattern match in the end, which is probably a bit of a shame, but I didn't have huge amounts of fabric. It was quite narrow, so I had to just take it where I could. I popped in a label from my Kylie and the Machine advent calendar, and also just for fun I decided to add a bit of lace to the lining, and what I did on the edge of it was just add some lace trim. Now I've bought a lot of lace trim for my daughter's garments. When I sew her dresses and things, I add sometimes this heirloom lace to that, but I just thought it would be a nice touch underneath the skirt to add that. Now obviously when I'm wearing it you won't see that lining layer or petticoat, it almost looks like, with that lace, but oh no, it's there, and there's something nice about having the insides of the garment really well finished. In terms of the lining, that's all sewn in, so I very carefully turned the seams out on the sleeve so that I could sew that lining down, and the same with the zip. That's all sewn in on the edges there, and then you can see the finishing of the zip on the inside there as well. So I'm really excited about wearing this afternoon. I don't think there was desperate need to make a new dress, but it was just one of those moments when I thought, I've got the fabric, I'd love to make it up into something, and this is as good an excuse as any to get the dress made up. So I'm really glad that I got that made, and I'm looking forward to wearing it. So I'm going to head off now and get changed and get ready to head off for my son's special afternoon tea. It's an odd day to finish my weekend sewing, I suppose. I normally finish on a Friday or on a Sunday, but I just wanted to pop back on and let you know that I did finish the dress and share some pictures with you on this Monday afternoon. I hope you really enjoyed seeing my weekend sewing and coming along with me on some of our adventures this week. I look forward to seeing you next week in my next video. If you did enjoy it, I would so appreciate it if you would leave a thumbs up on the video. It really helps with YouTube to then share my video with others who might also enjoy it. And whilst you're there, if you haven't yet, I would so appreciate it if you would subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can be made aware of when I publish future videos. It would be so great to have you join me here as one of my regular subscribed viewers. So I hope you have a wonderful week ahead, full of very happy sewing, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Goodbye!